Ayo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Ace. This is Fantasized Football. We are back once again, bringing y'all some more fantasy football content for the 2021 fantasy football season, for the last time of the 2021 fantasy football season. I know it's crazy. This year has gone by so fast. It has been a long, arduous grind of a season, but we are here. We are at week 17. We are in championship week, and we've made it to the promised land, and now we got one more week to get over the hump and grab ourselves a fantasy football championship. So I'm here with my must-start players, my starts of the week, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it. Did want to say Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. I hope you're having a great holiday season, because I did somehow forget to mention that in the last video. So there you go. I hope you're having a great holiday season. I hope you had a great Christmas. Whatever it is you celebrate, I hope you really do enjoy it very, very much. But I did want to give a quick shout out. I did have to give a quick shout out, the biggest shout out of the year, to each and every one of y'all that have came by on a weekly basis, showed your boy some love and support, helped the channel to grow. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It really honestly means the world to me, and I could never ever put it into words. But if you do happen to be new to the channel, welcome. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. I do hope you find it helpful. If you do at any point, please make sure that you do leave a like, you drop a comment, and you subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my goal of 500 subscribers on YouTube ASAP. If we can do it by the end of the fantasy football season, that'd be like a miracle. But hell, as soon as possible works for me. But listen, with that out of the way, like I said, it's here. It's that time. It's week 17. It is the main event. It is championship week. And I got some players here that if you have on your fantasy football roster, you need to have them in your lineup, because they could be the difference maker. They could be the piece to the puzzle that puts you over the hump and gets you one of those. Gets you a fantasy football championship, a trophy, the bragging rights, the money, whatever it is that you are competing for. So without further ado, let's kick it off. Let's get right into it with my quarterback start of the week, which is Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles, going up against Washington at Washington. Now, this is why we wanted Jalen Hurts so bad. This is why a few weeks back we were looking to trade for Jalen Hurts, because of this championship matchup here against Washington. Washington has been absolutely abysmal against the pass this season. They have been the number one matchup for the quarterback position this season for fantasy football, at least. Now, we actually have a little sample size here for Jalen Hurts to work with, because just a couple weeks ago, Jalen Hurts went up against Washington in round one of the fantasy football playoffs, and he probably helped you to win your week, because he threw for nearly 300 yards, he added 38 rushing yards, and he scored 3 total touchdowns. Now, this is a divisional matchup here, and like I just said, look at what Washington's done recently, right? Look at what Jalen Hurts did to them. Look at last week. Look at that, right? Dallas and Washington. Dak Prescott put over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in about 3 quarters of action. So I'm feeling a big game out of Jalen Hurts this week based on what we've seen recently from Jalen Hurts. I mean, last week he wasn't great, but based on his previous matchup with Washington and what Washington's been doing all season against quarterbacks, they've been so bad. It just feels like a big week, another big week from Jalen Hurts. So if you have him on your fantasy football roster, please do not be scared off by last week. Put him in your lineup this week. He could be one of those players that really helps you get over the hump, be a difference maker here to help you win that fantasy football championship. Now, moving on, we're going to go over to the running back position. The first player I want to talk about is Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the New York Jets at New York. Need I say more, right? Last year, we had Playoff Lenny. This year, we got Fantasy Playoff Ronnie. And if you were lucky enough to get Ronald Jones off the waiver wire a few weeks back, he really could be the player that helps you secure that championship here this week. Now, Ronald Jones last week against the Panthers, he had 22 total touches, 81 yards, and a score. Carolina is a much better defense than the New York Jets are. Now, he outtouched Keyshawn Vaughn 22-7, that being Ronald Jones, and I expect that to continue to be the case again this week. Now, he may see some passing down work to Keyshawn Vaughn, but that's not something I'm super concerned about based on the matchup here against the Jets. Now, this is a former divisional rival of Tom Brady. I expect the Buccaneers to come out early on, get out to an early lead, control this game, have a positive game script, leading to a lot of rush opportunities, a lot of time spent around the red zone, a lot of goal line opportunities. I expect Ronald Jones to handle the majority of the goal line work and the early down work. And if that's the case, and it's a positive game script, that means we should see a lot of Ronald Jones. And this matchup against the Jets is way too good to ignore. Way, way, way too good to ignore. The Jets have been horrible against running backs this season, allowing 100 yards or a touchdown to the position in all but one game this season. In 14 out of 15 games this season, the Jets have allowed 100 yards or a touchdown to the running back position. So if you have Ronald Jones, without a doubt in my mind, he needs to be in your fantasy football lineup this week. Now, the other running back I want to talk about is Damien Harris of the New England Patriots going up against Jacksonville at home. Again, I love the matchup here, and Damien Harris has been very, very good this season, especially as of late. He's scored a touchdown in 8 out of his last 9 games. And when you look at him throughout the season, what he's done this year, he's had either 100 yards or a touchdown in 10 out of 13 games this season. So he's been very, very consistent with his levels of production. Now, he does, Damien Harris, that is, leave a little bit to be desired in terms of his work in the passing game. But I'm not too concerned about that, especially in this matchup here against Jacksonville. Like I just alluded to, like I just stated, what Damien Harris has done this season has been phenomenal, especially given the fact that he's not heavily involved in the passing game. He's been great for fantasy. This is a matchup here with Jacksonville and a must-win game for the Patriots. The Patriots just took a divisional loss last week to Buffalo. This is a must-win game for them. They already have a very, very run-heavy game plan as it is, so I expect them to go out there, get out to an early lead, and to be running the rock a lot. Again, like I just mentioned with Ronald Jones, I expect them to be spending a lot of time around the red zone, a lot of goal line opportunities, and Damien Harris has been great around the goal line this season. The matchup against Jacksonville is way too good to ignore. Just like with Ronald Jones and the New York Jets, the Jacksonville Jaguars have allowed a touchdown or 100 yards to the running back position in 5 of the last 7 games. Based on the matchup, based on how good Damien Harris has been all year, if you have him on your fantasy football roster, he is an absolute must-start this week. Now, moving over to wide receiver, the first player I want to talk about is Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions going up against Seattle at Seattle here this week. Now, we're going from a waiver wire darling to a must-start. Listen, I'm going to take ownership of it. I said last week, Russell Gage, you should start him. I was wrong. He had a bad week. I said the same thing. Waiver wire guy, right into the must-starts. But this week, it's different with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a completely different breed. He's had double-digit targets in 4 straight games. He's clearly established himself as the top option in this passing offense with TJ Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift out of the lineup. Now, Hawkinson's done, but Swift might be back this week. But I'm not too concerned about it because Jared Goff is back as well. The chemistry between Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff was very, very apparent, and I expect Jared Goff to continue to lean on him moving forward. Hell, if you look at these last 4 games for Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's been incredible. He's averaging over 11 targets a game, nearly 9 catches, over 80 yards, and he has scored 3 touchdowns. In that period of time, in these last 4 games, he's averaging 22.4 full PPR points per game. He's a player that you absolutely need in your lineup. And just a little bonus here, this matchup against Seattle is great as well. Seattle is allowing the 2nd most receiving yards in the league. So if you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, do not hesitate. Put him in your lineup. He could be a player that really helps you secure the championship here this week. Now, this season as a whole, when I do these videos, I do kind of try to stay away from the real gimmies, like the obvious starts. But it's the last video of the year. I had to put a Miami Dolphin in here. Fins up, baby. We're going to beat the Titans this week. We're going to beat New England next week. And we're going to the playoffs. And we're going to have a Cinderella story. Excuse me. Sorry, babe. You good? A Cinderella story to the Super Bowl here this season. I hope. But the player I'm talking about here, I'm sure you could guess it, is Devontae Parker. Just kidding, it's Jaylen Waddle. Jaylen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins, obviously going up against Tennessee at Tennessee. I had to do it. I'm sorry. Listen, Waddle has been phenomenal this season. As a rookie, coming in here, doing what he's done has been absolutely incredible. Now, if you look at what he's done since week 6, that's a 9-game sample size. He's had 8 or more targets in 8 out of those 9 games. He's clearly established himself as Tua's top target in the passing game here for Miami. They have a report dating back to college and it is transferred over here to the NFL. When we look at what Jaylen Waddle has done since week 10 with Tua, he's averaging nearly 10 targets a game, 9 catches, 89 yards, and he scored 2 touchdowns in that period of time. This is a matchup with Tennessee, right? It's a must-win game for Miami. This is a big game for both of these teams. And Brian Flores is a smart coach. And I'm sure he's noticed that as of recently, Tennessee has been great against the run, so I expect them to come in with a more pass-heavy game plan than usual. And if that's the case, I expect Tua to heavily lean on his top target being Jaylen Waddle. I'm expecting Miami to try to expose this Tennessee secondary, who has been horrible this season, being bottom 10 in the league in terms of both receptions and receiving yards allowed. So if you have Jaylen Waddle, I know it's kind of a no-brainer. It's kind of a gimme, but you got to have him in your fantasy football lineup this week because I'm expecting a very, very big game coming off of a big game last week as well on Monday night. Well, actually this week on Monday night. But whatever. Listen, it's beside the point. Let's move on. Let's wrap it up. The final player, the final must-start of the year. Who would have thought this in Week 17 that I would be saying that my must-start tight end for the championship week would be Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz of the Arizona Cardinals going up against Dallas at Dallas. Zach Ertz, thankfully, has found new life here in Arizona, especially as of recently. He has been very, very good. He has had 7 or more targets in 4 out of his last 5 games, and he's had double-digit targets in back-to-back games. And I expect Kyler to continue to lean on Zach Ertz with DeAndre Hopkins out of the lineup. Zach Ertz is now arguably the top target in this offense with DeAndre Hopkins out, either himself or Christian Kirk. But based on the volume we've seen from Zach Ertz, that's something you can't ignore. Like I've said all season, we always like to prioritize volume, and the volume has been there for Zach Ertz. And this matchup with Dallas is one that I like. The Cardinals have been struggling as of late, and I expect them to come out here with guns blazing and really try to get it going early on. Dallas puts up a lot of points. They're a high-octane, high-passing volume offense, and I think the Cardinals are going to have to be doing something similar, right? Be throwing the ball a lot, have a high-volume passing attack here this week in order to keep up with the Cowboys. And seeing what Zach Ertz has done recently, based on his involvement in this offense, I'm expecting another big game from Zach Ertz this week. So if you have him on your fantasy football roster, he is an absolute must-start here in Week 17 in Championship Week. But that wraps it up. Those are my must-start players, my starts of the week for Week 17. Let's quickly recap. We had Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Ronald Jones and Damian Harris at running back. Wide receivers, we had Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jaylen Waddle. Tight end, we have Zach Ertz. These are some players that I really, truly, honestly believe could help lead you to a fantasy football championship. But that wraps it up. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did at any point, please make sure that you do leave a like, you drop a comment, and you subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my goal of 500 subscribers on YouTube ASAP. I would really appreciate any and all help reaching that goal. But this is it, y'all. This is all. This is the last video for this season, for the 2021 fantasy football season. I appreciate you guys so very much for helping me out here. This channel, I came out and I did it on a whim, and to see how well it's gone and all the positive feedback I've gotten has really been super inspiring. It's been a long, grindy, arduous season, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I thank you guys so very much for being involved in it with me. Make sure that you follow my socials. Links will be down in the description below to stay updated with what's going on in the channel. Next week, I'm probably going to do a little video to let you guys know what's going on. I'm probably going to be taking a little bit of time off to take care of some things. I want to make some improvements for the channel, but we'll get to that a little bit more when I actually do that video. I hope you guys, again, have a great holiday season. You have a great New Year's, a great New Year's Eve. Please be safe on New Year's Eve. Do not be dumb. Be smart. Use your brains. Please be safe, and I hope that your new year starts with you capturing a fantasy football championship. But for the last time, that is it. That is all. That is all there is. I shouldn't say the last time. The last time for this season. That is it. That is all. That is all there is. Me and my boy, we are out. Ugh. We are gone. We are done. We will catch y'all next time. And as always, thank you, love you, peace.